A political scientist and senior research fellow at the Institute of Democratic Governance, Dr. Kwesi Jonah, says the absence of lesser political parties in this year's presidential race has tendencies of undermining democracy.
He explains for only the main political parties to be given the nod to run for presidency clearly defines Ghana as a two-party state, which is not good for democracy.
Since 1992, two major political parties, the ruling National Democratic Congress and its largest opposition New Patriotic Party, have been the frontrunners in the country's governing democracy. Out of the current 25 registered political parties, 17 filed to contest for the slot of presidency in this year's elections, but only 4 were able to go through the process successfully and therefore qualifying to battle for the presidential seat come December 7. That is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo of the NPP, President John Dramani Mahama of the NDC, Ivor Greenstreet of the CPP, and an independent candidate, Jacob Osei-Yeboah. Dr. Kwesi Jonah explains this development is a clear example of a two-party state which is not healthy for the country's growing democracy.
What I am worried about is the lack of capacity on the part of other parties to be able to get some reasonable representation in parliament so that they can effectively check a dominant party from carrying out ill-conceived policies without seeking the support of other parties.
He explained the reasons for which the Commission disqualified the remaining 13 candidates signifies how effective the Commission is applying the laws. Chairperson for the Commission, Madam Charlotte Osei, at a press conference yesterday said some voters endorsed forms for different candidates in different regions, which she pointed out as an act that contradicts the laws governing elections in Ghana. This, according to Dr. Kwesi Jonah, clearly exposes some of the weaknesses of the lesser-known political parties operating in the country.
It is very, very strange that a law that we have been working with for close to 30 years, all of a sudden, so many parties and candidates cannot meet the requirement of that law. It reflects a certain weakness. The small parties, even if they are not in the position to have offices throughout all the 216 districts of this country, must have branches, dedicated and loyal members all throughout the 216 districts. It will not be very difficult for you getting the endorsement.
It is usually the function of the presidential candidate to mobilize national support for the party, whilst their parliamentary candidate works within their various constituencies. Dr. Jonah explains the absence of these parties in the race is likely to create voter apathy come December 7, which will affect the various parliamentary candidates of those parties without presidential candidates.